if one wants to explore this outdoor, any outdoor activity as a career, what are the kind of options that they have, an approach that they should be taking, if someone is willing to do this full time, for example, or if someone wants to just do it part time? So first, let's talk about outdoor jobs as full time responsibilities or full time jobs. So what is the kind of approach that is needed? What needs to be done as an individual? What kind of courses, certifications are out there? If we can talk a little bit about that.
Okay, perfect. So first, I would like to talk about, trek leading, because that's what I am, trek leader. So basically, if you're a trek leader, you need to understand a lot of, first, it's a communication skills has to be good, because you have to deal with a lot of people. And communication doesn't mean, having a fluent English or something. It means like how you portray your thoughts, or how you display your thoughts to people, and, uh, how you communicate things very effectively, where you're not where you understand the person from the village, you understand people coming from the city, and how you're that middle person who can effectively communicate with both, and emphasizing having empathy and sympathy, having all this kind of understanding before communicating. Second is your safety skills. So person who wants to be a trek leader can, like in India Hikes, we already undergo through all these trainings in the company itself. Like we even so our trainers who are there, who trains us, they have done all this wilderness first responder courses. What are they? They're basically, if you're in the outdoors and let's say if something happens to you, so how can you minimize that particular risk, and you can bring down that particular person in the safest manner to the nearest hospital in without impacting a lot. So let's say a person got a fracture, so how do you make a splint and everything, and make sure that blood is not flowing and that bone is not getting ruptured, and with the proper splint, how you can bring that person down. See, you're not a doctor, you can't do a lot of things, but how you can minimize those things and bring that person down is regarding the safety. So with the safety, you can do courses which are there. One of them is wilderness first responder, which there are multiple certification courses. There is NOLS from US. It's a national outdoor leadership school who conducts this. They are from USA, and they have can say a branch over here who trains on all these aspects. And so that is about safety. Then you can do a basic mountaineering course. Now basically, when you do a basic mountaineering course, there's a lot of government like institutions at different Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Darjeeling. There are a lot of these institutions who train you to how to having a technical knowledge about how to make knots, how to do rock climbing, how to do ice crafting. And like they teach you a lot about how in the mountain, if something happens, how you take care at that moment, and a lot of things you learn. But like when I started with India Hikes, I because if you want to do a BMC, there are limited seats, and if I want to do it now, it will be like 2 years later. So I'll have to do it now if I want to go in that 2026 ka batch, because there are limited batches, and many of them gets full even before like 2 year 2 saal pehle ho gaye book. So if you go to the website, you'll see it's already full. So a lot of these institutes, that is a problem of doing that course. But with India Hikes, there is a proper training that happens before being a trek leader. Like I had to undergo 3 months of training where I had been taught about, how to go about safety, what risk can happen on trek, what challenges that the trekker can feel on trek. So how to mitigate those risks. I've been trained on that. And then having all these assignments to complete. And, now also we have, like I told you, like I had a trainer who had come from Netherlands just to teach us how to make obstacle courses. So if you want kids to come on the trek, if we can make something with the knot at that point, and teach kids to do certain things, making obstacle courses, how they can learn and how it can help us to become an outdoor educator. So I think that training happens with India Hikes. But if you want to get into outdoor leading, having a knowledge about safety and having a knowledge about experience in the mountains and doing a lot of treks and hikes in the Himalayas, I think that can help you becoming a trek leader, right? And if you want to be an outdoor educator, then you also have to be a good facilitator. Now, what is an outdoor educator? I'll just tell you. So, outdoor education is basically you learn things by doing. Like when you do things and when you learn that, at the end of the day, you just reflect on, you did like, today you just plucked out few flowers and you made a juice out of it. So, what did you learn about that particular flower? What was your observation? And if you have to this learning, whatever you did, like composting or something, how can you apply it to different fields, and what were the qualities that you felt is required? So asking this reflective questions can help them understand, learn things. So it's not basically you're reading and you're just studying and writing down paper, but you're doing activities and you're learning. So this is called an alternative education approach, and it doesn't have to be just in trekking. Like there are like schools, like it can happen in any setting, but but this setting needs a natural environment and for the learning to happen. So there are no particular curriculums based on it, but there are alternative schools which have some aspect of outdoor education ingrained in it. Like I had a kid who had come from Auroville, and Auroville have this alternative school approach where they don't teach you like proper subject, but then they do all this experimentations where they do skit practices. So that's where you're learning literature when you're doing skits. When you make a trip budget, that's when you're learning maths. So this kind of approach is there, which I feel is very fascinating, because as a kid I felt like I was not like when we had this subject called as environmental science and everything. When I was learning, कुछ मजा ही नहीं आ रहा था, मैं पत्थर के बारे में क्यों पढ़ रहा हूँ, फूलों के बारे में क्यों पढ़ रहा हूँ. I'm not enjoying whatever I'm learning in that book. Like everything looks very dull. But now when I'm here, I've started to actually enjoy watching birds, while seeing this plant and seeing this flower growing on that, and learning, oh, आलू का मटर का झाड़ ऐसा दिखता है, आलू का झाड़ ऐसा दिखता है. So now I can distinguish things. But if it would have been taught inside the book, it is very difficult for me to talk about things. So I think when kids come, or any elders, we also learn on everyday basis. When we all come on trek, when we learn these things, I think there are a lot of things we can take back. So outdoor education focuses on that.
Right.
So there is this one field.
Yeah. So I think one thing what comes out as this entire discussion, or the highlight, is that if you are wanting to pursue this as a full time, then you have to be ready to put in that time and dedication, because like you told, there's a lot of learning curve that is needed and a lot of learning that goes into it. It's as good as training for any other job. I mean, there is no difference in terms of outdoor indoor jobs, and I can personally count on why these trainings are important, because during my Rupen Pass experience, I have seen how these experiences count. Like, we were trekking in a very harsh condition. That point in time, the Kinnaur range had heavy snowfall, and I think we were first or second batch of India X to cross Rupen Pass for
Wow.
that season. So, and we had seen a lot of bad things go where people were not experienced. We could see a person with having an hip attack on the trek, on who were coming with local guides. So like you told, we need to value the trainings and certifications that come with it, and treat it like any other full-time job that you need training. It's not something that you go out of something, okay, tomorrow I'll go and start trekking and I'll take
Yeah.
20 people and I'll become a trek leader, right? Yeah. But obviously this comes with a certain amount of risks and things like that. So there might not be I might not have enough idea right now to do it full time. So what are the opportunities that exist as a part time, or at least if you can highlight it's in India hikes, what kind of part time opportunities exist, or outside also? How should they be? How should they engage?
Correct. So with in India, it's very limited. Like when it's trekking, people just think from one point to another and just taking to summit and taking people back. But with India Hikes, we are more now. This is where we are trying to focus more on this coming years, is experiential learning. Like how I spoke about outdoor education, we are focusing more on the experiential learning, where we have where I said it's an objective based type of learning. So we have all this collaborative leadership program, where we have IIM students, where we are in collaboration with IIM colleges, and we are in call with Goa Institute of Management. So a lot of leadership schools, they want to collaborate with us, so that students, they learn something. Like it's a soft skill, right? Learning an MBA is basically you're trying to learn more soft skills, and you're learning more leadership skills. And when you're on this track, how you see leadership and how you think about leadership. Like when we think about leadership, we think about competition, we think about that competitiveness. But so this is another thing which we have opened. It's called CLP, Collaborative Leadership Program, where these schools from different institutions, they will collaborate with us, where the students will learn more about having the right approach to leadership, where they will be put into conditions where they have to go on their trek, navigate on their own, pitch their tent on their own, cook food on their own. And now in these circumstances where a trekker might sometimes that person might feel its lowest or feel its best, so how does the other person helps, and how that collaborative thing happens, like how what skill set comes over there. will give you certain type of, will help you assess yourself better in terms of becoming a leader, and what kind of leader you are. So this CLP programs we have opened, and a lot of institutions have already tied up and wants to tie up. So this is a separate section that we are going. And there are family treks in which there are parents coming with their kids, and we like, nowadays, like, a lot of parents are very concerned about their kids as to they do not let them take that risk of, doing and trying things. They're like, ye karo to aisa hoga, and do try things, and whatever they have learned, they want to impart that to their kids. But how the market changes and experience changes, a lot of new opportunities grow. But when you come on those treks, you try to understand your kid better. Your kid understands their parents better, because sometimes you're in the same room, but you're in your own phone, you don't get to talk much. So having these family treks give that, opportunity to bond better, understand each other better. And also, so these are the family treks that we have opened. And then we have summer camps where the kids are coming, they're learning to do new things in the outdoors. And to be a part of all these programs that we have, one can do an internship with us. There are winter internships, there are summer internships, where they can come and be a part of all these things that we are doing, so that they can learn, how to facilitate all these things, how to, learn about safety. And this all things they will learn on the way when they are helping the trek leaders, or they're helping the management, right? And people can become a volunteer with us. So these are all the part-time things that they can do, either get into, volunteering or doing internship. If you want to work a full-time, like I did a full-time, I'd done treks with Indiax before, so I already knew what they stand for, and those aligned with my values. And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm signing up for, and I want to do this full-time. Because yeah, so that's what I took that plunge of doing it full-time. But people who are not sure of if they want to do or they want to do, they can start it as a volunteer or an intern with us.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So there are enough opportunities in the part-time. If someone wants to consider the part-time or something that they would like to experiment with, there are enough opportunities. And I also believe as Indians now, we've started more traveling. We've moved out of that shell that okay, we have stopped seeing travel as just once in a year holiday destination. Now more people are traveling more and more. So there are more and more opportunities opening up, I guess. Now a lot of hostels
Correct.
offer internships as well, and work from hostel kind of a situations. Right. So there are enough opportunities there.
Correct.